I'm checking out some of the books on Raspberry Pi, and we are trying to understand why this Raspberry Pi has become so important. Before that, let me show you some of the books. This book is about more about electronics of Raspberry Pi. This book is about the projects that you can do in Raspberry Pi. The same book with a new version, projects in Raspberry Pi. This is about how to get started with Raspberry Pi. And this is one of my favorite, which is cookbook. This book is much simpler and it's big, so I like the cookbook better. The broad idea is whenever we want to implement any startup using Internet of Things, like an auto detector of an RFID, where when we forget something at the home, it reminds us that hey, you forgot to bring your charger or something like that. That happens to me a lot. Or if I were to create my own stuff where I could talk to the computer and say that hey, I want to turn off a light using my voice, or if I want to make something like hey, open the door, and I want to do it using my voice recognition, any kind of programming which you can do to help us to do that. The main language is Python. Most of these books start with the wireless part in the very starting, and they then jump to camera. The best project, a common project I found in all of these books is a self-driving car, or like moving things here and there using a car, because it uses sensor. There's a whole sensor kit here, and the motors, and the camera, and the wireless part where you can wirelessly control the car. So any startup that is going to be based on IoT, the first prototype would be using this Raspberry Pi, which has become very critical.